What up, Bucs fans, NFL fans, and gambling fans? Welcome back to Pewter Picks and Props for Week 17. This is brought to you by PewterReport.com. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Before we get going, just wanted to wish everybody a belated Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and Happy Holidays to everybody. Let's get it rocking and rolling. A lot of great stuff to get into for this week's slate of games. Of course, Bucs versus Panthers, a crucial matchup for Tampa Bay if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. And the second round of the college football playoff. So we're going to pick every single game in college football, a couple of NFL, and the Bucs game with player props. So let's start it off with, I believe, is the first college football game of the week on New Year's Eve. That is Boise State and Penn State. Going with the underdog, Boise State plus 11. I was not impressed by Penn State in their win over SMU. Yes, they completely dominated SMU. But let's remember how that game was going. Penn State either went 3 and out or had a quick drive. SMU went all the way down the field, and then the quarterback just made some bad throws, and they didn't get that fourth down conversion. SMU was moving the ball, and then their quarterback just kind of crapped the bed. So I wasn't overly impressed with what Penn State did. I don't think Boise State will make those same mistakes because they have Ashton Genty, who they're going to try to run a ton. So I kind of believe Boise State's going to keep it close because of that. Both teams are going to want to establish the run, which is why I also like the under in Boise State, Penn State. I don't know how long Boise State can hold off Penn State for, but if they control the ball, they'll run it with Genty until the cows come home, and that typically leads for an under. So it'll be Boise State plus 11 and the under of 52.5. Next up, Texas and Arizona State. I'll take the over in this one. Arizona State is a frisky team. They can sling the ball. They got a fun running back to watch. And Texas, they balled out in their last game, and I don't see that slowing down against the Arizona State defense. So both teams high flying, formerly, I think, a Big 12 matchup, maybe, but nonetheless, Texas can score. Arizona State, even in garbage time, can kind of put the pieces together. So we'll take the over in that one. A fun rematch of Oregon and Ohio State. I'm still going with Oregon. People are riding the coattails of Ohio State because they beat Tennessee, and I get it. They put a whooping on them. But Oregon's undefeated. I'm sure they're pissed off that they got screwed over with this matchup in the first place. And Ohio State, they will choke one way or another. I think this is the week that they choke. And remember, that last game was tight. I think both teams scored in the 20s. Defense will lead the day because this is the biggest game of the week. Everybody's going to be watching. All eyes on this game. Typically, teams play tight on offense. And so I'll take the under of 55. I think, for me, that's the funnest game of the week. Georgia, Notre Dame, I'm taking the Dogs, -2. They've had several weeks now to figure out what they're going to do with their new quarterback. They have a great defense. They play tough opponents where Notre Dame doesn't. So I'm not buying into what Notre Dame did last week against Indiana. I mean, I bet on Notre Dame, and I was absolutely right. But now they have to go up against a legit opponent, a legit foe. So Georgia, again, running the football, they got a ton of skill, way more talent than Notre Dame does, and usually talent takes the day. And I'll take the under in this one as well. Just one of these teams is not going to score a lot based on the two great defenses. So under of 44. Moving on to the NFL, we got 3 games, then we'll get to the Bucs game. Chargers at Patriots over 42.5. This is a pretty low number. I know it's over in New England, so Chargers have to go West Coast to East Coast. But Drake May, the Patriots quarterback, has been slinging it as of lately. I've been impressed by what I've seen from him. Chargers defense has kind of faltered over the past couple of weeks. But on the flip side, the Chargers are getting J.K. Dobbins back, so that is huge for their running game, and Justin Herbert can still throw a pretty good football. So over 42.5. Everybody's talking about this freaking game. Broncos at Bengals, and everybody's on the Bengals, so I'm on the Broncos. Let's remember, the Bengals defense is terrible. They can't stop anybody, and Bo Nix is having a great season as a rookie. Yeah, the Bengals have the They need to keep their playoff hopes alive. But you know what? The Broncos are trying to clinch a wild card spot as well. I just think the Broncos are going to score at will, or at least score enough against the Bengals in a really bad defense. Sean Payton's a good coach. I think the Broncos may win outright. And, I love Joe Burrow. I'm a huge fan of his, just like everybody else is. But, man, I mean, he can't do everything. So I'll take the Broncos +3 in Cincinnati. The Monday night game, Lions at 49ers. Lions -3.5 all day. You heard Dan Campbell. They're playing everybody. They're going to win in a crazy style of game, high-flying offense, tons and tons of points. 49ers have nothing to play for. They are beaten up. They are battered. They are bruised. I think this is a blowout type of game. This is the game that I feel best about this whole week. Lions -3.5, a tune-up game before a huge matchup against the Vikings. But if Detroit is going to bring it, like Dan Campbell says, I don't see how the 49ers keep this even remotely close despite being the home team. So that's my pick for that one. Now we're going to move over to Bucs versus Panthers, a home game for Tampa Bay. They are an 8-point favorite, but I hate to say it. I'm picking the Panthers to cover +8. I think the Bucs are going to win in a close one, but this game went to overtime when they met on December 1st. The Panthers just won last week against the Cardinals. They've played a ton of close games, and the Bucs played down to their competition. They just lost to the Dallas Cowboys last weekend. I have no doubts that the Bucs will score points. That's why I like the over of 48.5. My concern is the Bucs defense, which again is why the over is going to happen, because the Bucs defense has made teams get one-dimensional, and they can still move the football against them. Look at that Dallas game. They had no running game, and yet Cooper Rush threw all over the place against the Bucs. We saw how the Panthers were successful in that first matchup. Bryce Young throwing it. They like to be balanced with running Chuba Hubbard, but they don't even need to against this Bucs defense that gets picked apart when you throw the football against them. So I think Baker Mayfield will continue to ball out. I mean, there's nothing that stops the Bucs offense besides turning the ball over. I mean, even when they have bad games, they're scoring over 20 points. So I have no concerns about the Bucs scoring. I have concerns about the Bucs stopping Carolina, but the Bucs backs are against the wall, which is why I think they're going to win, but the Panthers are going to cover and play another close game, be a tough team to fight off. Now, the player props, a big reason why most of you are here. We have Mike Evans chasing history. He's a little over 200 yards away from getting 1,000 yards for what would be the 11th straight season. How do you not pick Mike Evans over on his receiving yards? It's 79.5 for this one. He had over 100 the last time the Panthers played. Everybody knows Mike is going to get the ball, and teams still can't stop it, especially when he's come back from his knee and hamstring injury. So take this all day, Mike Evans over 79.5 receiving yards. And everything I said about how bad the Bucs defense is, that's why I really like Bryce Young over 219 passing yards. The Bucs will play soft zone. They won't get a lot of pressure. Young has built up good chemistry with his receivers. Adam Thielen coming back a couple of weeks ago, I think, has really helped this game as well. And Bryce Young has played better, so maybe he doesn't fall into this category anymore, but the Bucs make pedestrian and bad quarterbacks look like Hall of Famers. I see no difference with that for Bryce Young, so take the over of 219. I thought this was going to be like 235, but you can get it there. So last player prop for the touchdown prop, Rachaad White. I'm taking the under of 40.5 rushing yards. This one might be a little bit of a surprise because the Bucs ran it so well against Carolina. The Cardinals ran it really well against them last week. For me, it's not necessarily anything Rachaad White won't do or can't do. I just think they're going to have so much success with Bucky Irving running the football that Rachaad White may only get like 6 or 7 attempts. And they're just going to keep running Bucky until the Panthers can stop it. Now, Rachaad White will be involved in the passing game a lot, probably get some screens, probably get some receptions. But this has more to do with Bucky Irving than it does Rachaad White. So I'll take the under on his 40.5 rushing yards, though I still think he'll have an impact in this game. It's just Bucky Irving is fantastic when it comes to running the football. And my touchdown prop this week, you have to go with the guy that has been lighting it up and has been the hot hand when scoring touchdowns, and that's Jalen McMillan. He has 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games. He's becoming a red zone threat, a little bit of a intermediate to deep threat as well. Baker Mayfield has a lot more trust in him, and he's scoring every single week. So the fact that this is at plus 150 is almost a must take because Bucky Irving is in the minus. Mike Evans is in the minus, and same with Rachaad White. So your best option, really, for a guy that you think has a good chance of scoring is Jalen McMillan. So you can get him anytime touchdown at plus 150. I think that's a pretty good payout. All right, that's going to do it for this week's show. Again, a lot of college football, some NFL, and the Bucs game and the player props too. So go out there, place your bets, have a good time. Have a happy new year as well. A lot of these games start on January 1st, except for one of those college football games. And of course, the Bucs game will be on December 29th. So I got an early start with the college football games because it's in the middle of the week. But anyway, should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Hopefully the Bucs win. Make sure you follow Pewter Report at Pewter Report on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. You follow me on X at Matty4_Matera. My Instagram is Matty_Matera. So just take out the 4, and that'll be it. So thank you to everybody that is watching this show. I really appreciate all the support. And let's go out there and win some money. Out.